Dankjewel. Good afternoon. It's great to be here with you today. And also because it's a little bit of a trip down memory lane. I started my visit with a short visit to ORAS and the VVTP, to be young again. And also a bit longer visit to RoboHouse, to understand what the TU is doing today on AI. And I learned a lot again that I think we can apply almost immediately in The Hague, because the challenges of today are enormous. And yes, I studied physics here in 87 I started, and it was a different time. The world was a different place. The Cold War was raging, and a physical wall, divided the East and the West. Nationally, there were deep fault lines within society. Demonstrations on the Malieveld in The Hague. Interest rates were sky high, and so was unemployment. And the effects of the oil crisis could be felt throughout the economy and throughout the labor market. We were called the lost generation. For us, there would be no jobs. And we listened to the Dutch band Doe Maar, who sang that fatalistic song, Totdat de bom valt, until the bomb drops. Was it a dark time? Yes. Maybe that's not how I experienced it, because as you young engineers, I was immersed into my Delft life. I really believed Delft was the center of the universe. And I think there are only a few places in the world where you can wear a cap saying 42 and everybody understands. I still do that test from time to time. With some of the civil surgeons in The Hague, somebody asks a question and I say, oh, it's 42. And then you see one or two people smiling. And then you know your fellow travelers. But was it a dark time in 87? Not from where I was standing as a student in Delft. But looking globally, moreover, maybe also not for the whole society. When you look back and when you consider the bigger picture, you will see that it was during those times that new social patterns and conditions emerged, shaping the Netherlands as we know it today. A society that does offer equal opportunities, where efforts and accomplishments are rewarded and with space for innovation, and a safety net for those who need it. A society where people work hard and look after each other, and a social fabric that gave our country the resilience it needs to look confidently into the future. But these conditions did not just emerge like that. They were gradually created by people with vision and courage. And people with vision and courage will have to nurture, maintain, and defend them. Especially now that some of those conditions are under pressure. And I see that as a key responsibility for all of us, for me, and certainly for you all as young engineers. Yes, you are the future. You are shaping the future. And as an engineer, you think out of the box. You are a practical thinker, logically, creatively. And it makes you the problem solver of our society that we so dearly need. Especially since we are at the cusp of a new age. A time of great challenge, a time of many trends that we will have to confront together. And it's also a time of opportunity. So what trends and challenges are we talking about? First and foremost, of course, climate change. The Netherlands intends to be climate neutral by 2050. That demands major investments in knowledge, capital, talent. It also represents opportunities in jobs and innovation, but that means we have to start invest now. We have to start to change our behavior today, because we cannot afford to not meet this goal. Second trend is demography. Demography is going to change our society and the economy in the decades to come. We'll see rising demands for healthcare with our aging population, but also a new market, the silver economy. Innovation and e-health, and we saw some examples, will provide solutions. AI is already delivering results, but we need also there to speed it up, because the aging population, I will be one of them, and so will be Tim, and so will be the director. We will need your creativity to deal with our aging. Thirdly, worker shortages. Yes, demographics, but also a mismatch between jobs and skills. That will continue to squeeze the labor market. And here in Delft, you're working on specific programs to help tackle this problem, employing design thinking already or even driven by AI. And I saw some of those examples today in RoboHouse. Fourthly, the exponential developments of AI and robotics will result in marvelous innovations. I truly believe that. But it also presents many dilemmas in the field of control and ethics, privacy, democracy, and especially inclusion. Many people in the Netherlands are actually digitally illiterate. So we need to find a way to include them in our society and in the developments, to ensure digital access and digital knowledge. The fifth trend is that new generations, so that's you will enter the workforce, you will take the helm, and you will have different views than your parents about how you want to work, about why you want to work, for which companies you want to work. So employers have to be aware. New generation generally want different things than their parents. A different work-life balance. A larger work life. That means you don't have to do it all before you're 40. And then there's deglobalization. After decades of trade liberalization, we are now rethinking our very globalized and very interdependent value chains. We realize there are key areas where we need strategic autonomy as Europe, so that we're not unduly vulnerable to pressure from countries like Russia or China. And finally, geopolitical instability. It's never been away, but it's here again, with more and more people on the move across our globe, with an aggressor at our east side of Europe. We need not only strategic economic autonomy, but we also need an effective and a strong NATO and EU to guarantee our way of life. That means we have to continue to make credible investments in defense and innovation. And also there, AI can help us. And each of those trends, and especially all of them combined, contains the potential for major disruption. And we can see it today on social media, in the streets, in the results of elections. But they also present opportunities. Opportunities to do things better, smarter, more effective, but especially more inclusive, more sustainable, and more social. And this will demand a lot of us. It means making choices. It means knowing where we want to go and what's important for our long-term well-being, and what the real costs are of our way of life. Because I strongly believe that the Netherlands will only do well until everyone in our country prospers. And I'd like to illustrate that with something as simple as this small package. Nothing special, you might think. But actually, it's a wonder of ingenuity. You place an order with a click in an app on your phone. Google points you to the cheapest, the fastest option. The next day, a few hours later, or maybe even 10 minutes, somebody rings your doorbell and hands you a new pair of shoes, a tube of mascara, a bag of cat litter, whatever. And that's great, isn't it? That's convenient for us. It's all so easy. But I'd like you to look more closely, because it is ingenious, for sure. But there's so much more to it. Behind this little package may also lie a world of abuse, divisions, inequality of opportunity. Low-wage jobs performed by people who are often vulnerable. Bike couriers or night staff in massive distribution centers that pollute the landscape. Powered by technology that requires vast amounts of electricity and water. Concealed within this one little package is a tangle of complex questions. A labor market out of balance, flexibility gone mad, a race to the bottom in terms of unemployment conditions, jobs that can't keep up with competition, and especially the undervaluation of labor by consumers. And that is what a market can do when we adopt a policy of laissez-faire, when we lean back, when we say we don't need a vision, let the market solve it. But it does not have to be that way. And that is why we need an active government with a vision, a government that sets norms, is present. That's also why I've proposed a comprehensive labor market reform, restoring security for workers in fields where their position has been eroded. That's also why we need responsible business conduct. It pays to be a good employer. And to realize employees are people, not commodities. And are we engaged citizens? Are we conscious consumers who understand the value of work? Who understand what it costs to carry your luggage at Schiphol, to pick that tomato, or to deliver and sort your package? It means we should be willing to pay a fair price for this package to be delivered, so that the courier has a normal wage, the labor migrant has a decent bed to sleep in. And that's why we raised the minimum wage last year. But this small package also raises questions about the future. What other task can and should we hand over to robots? It was, by the way, one of the discussions in RoboHouse earlier today. How can we use the talent that will be freed up? Can we use it differently, more effectively? And how can we facilitate lifelong learning? Do we know what type of economy we want to have? What kind of jobs? Do we want to be a low-wage country? For which sector do we want to use our scarce land? And for which jobs do we want to educate? And finally, where do people fit in? The value of human beings cannot be replaced. And we all know the feeling, the relief when you finally get a real person on the line. A person who isn't reading a script, but listens to your story and helps you. And yes, I believe in technology. I'm an engineer. And technology can be very useful, but there is a limit to what it can do. And my final question, how can we together make sure that no one is left behind in our super diverse and super technological society? How do we really make this an inclusive society? And yes, these are difficult questions. But these are for you. You're 18, 19 years old. I don't want to spoil your fun of ordering your new mascara or shoes. That's not my intention at all. But those questions demand actions and answers from you. Not just from politicians, not just from The Hague, but from you students who are thinking through these developments every day. And being apolitical is a luxury none of us can afford. Plato already said, the price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men. Plato, of course, was right. Of course, today you would say people instead of men, okay? But his message remains true. Also, I hope, here in Delft. So, for me as a Minister of Social Affairs and Employment, it's important to think where all those questions take us. What type of work would we like to have in the year 2050? What factors and trends will play a role in shaping it? And I'd like to emphasize, designing our future is our responsibility. You are writing your own future. You are writing the future of our country. We as people are at the helm. We are the ones plotting the course, even when it comes to the most advanced technology developments like AI. So here's my answer, made up in 5 elements. First, a labor market that offers genuine equal opportunities and is truly inclusive. Job security, good employment conditions, good wages must be and remain widely available for everyone who makes a serious effort. So we need to curb excessive flexibility and ensure that employers and employees invest in each other, lifelong learning. We need to stop relying on migrant workers with low wages. We will still need them, but let's pay them fairly. And job security must become the standard for fixed work. We may also need some kind of a basic job to make sure everybody can participate and grow. And finally, we have to make sure that it pays to work much more than it does today. Secondly, an innovative economy with enough high-quality jobs. And this means working productivity by making smart use of new technologies. AI, yes, will replace jobs, but it will also create new ones. And it will help workers increase their productivity, increase their creativity, increase their effectiveness, and hopefully increase their joy, their fun. And in that respect, it's important to make sure we don't exclude people who find it hard to keep up with technological developments. Thirdly, a green economy, where circularity is the standard and zero waste and zero emissions are the goal. It will create huge opportunities. But as I said, we must take the lead and we must guide these transitions carefully and truly together. Fourth, a country that takes a responsible approach to scarcity, whether it's labor scarcity or land scarcity. We are entering an age where there will be less space and fewer public services. The potential supply of labor, of nitrogen, of land will stagnate or decrease as population ages. Limitations in other areas, like climate, nitrogen, will only amplify those effects. So these two are reasons to think how to make the most of our human potential. And lastly, ensuring that AI and robotics work for us. We need to invest in these technologies to stay at the forefront of progress. At the same time, we must be aware of the major potential impact of AI. We need to be mindful of the human dimension and ethical considerations. This requires a strong government that actively sets standards, as the EU has taken the lead and should continue to do so. So, this is quite an agenda, but I'm hopeful, especially as I look around in this hall. And that's what I like to close with a call to action to you, to the new generation. Get involved. Trends don't just happen. Social fabric does not fall from the sky. It's people who make a society. It's people who lay the groundwork for the prosperity and the common good of future generations. It's people who decide whether or not a society is inclusive and whether or not we provide equal opportunities to all. It's people who control large complex systems like AI and robotics. And it's people who can ensure that the challenges ahead can be confronted in a way that benefits all. It's people who build our society. It's people who can choose to build an inclusive society. It's people like me, it's people like you, it's people like us. Thank you.